Good morning, all. This is Sanjay from Westernacher, and with me I have Prajeet. Uh, we today we will be taking you through the benefits of the warehousing solution, that is EWM, and how the new warehousing solution or the EWM is getting evolved in the current situation, and how it is the best fit for all the warehouses across the globe that we want to use it. So quickly on to the agenda. Today what we will cover is we will introduce ourselves, what we are, what Westernacher is. Then we will give a very high level basics of EWM. We will touch base how EWM automations can help your warehouses. Then we will also touch upon what is EWM, what was it yesterday, and what is it today. So when you look at a warehousing solution, how you can use it and how you are looking to use it. Then the futures. So it is not all about you getting a software once, but it has to be continuously used across, and the futures and the flexibility has to come in for the better usage of the warehouse. So we will touch base on the EWM future, how it is looking at, and then most of us have a question, right? What are the different deployment options? So currently, we will in this presentation also we will show how EWM can be deployed, what are the different options, and then the innovation topic from our side, and how we can help you connect and few success stories. So this is what we want to cover today. Yeah. So when we as a warehousing practice in Westernacher, we are 30 years. We have 30 years of experience. Before SAP came up, we started. So our company has started in 1969. That's the time when we had homegrown warehouse management solution, which we had deployed across various customers in Europe, and we are there are a few customers whom we are supporting now also. But once SAP came in, we became a partner of SAP, and we have been working only on SAP products. And with we are the first implementers in the many products that has came in. So I would cover on what we have done in EWM warehousing space, right? And if we look at our consultant space, we have 170 plus consultants across the globe implementing different projects. We have almost done 270 warehouses implemented, which are automated, manual, semi-automated warehouses, right? What we did when we are premium partners, so we implemented SAP worldwide. We were the first one to implement the first SAP EWM. So we partnered with SAP. The product came in and we started implementing it with our all the experiences, the knowledge on the warehousing, what we had. Then we did the first SAP EWM decentral worldwide, which is S4 based implementation, which is a new one, which we will talk about it. What S4 has for EWM has in it, and what are the different capabilities in today's session. We did the first EWM in China. EWM on HANA was done by us, and then we also did our automation connecting with mobile robots. This I will cover as our success story, where I will show you the video of it, what we did, and what were the KPIs that has been achieved with continuous learnings, continuous focus on warehousing, what we could achieve. We built our own assets so that it becomes simplified for the implementation, simplified for the customers to take care of the products, or the implementation approach or the needs of the customers across the industry. So when we looked at that, one of the key thing that has came up was the warehouse billing solution for logistic service providers. We built that, we integrated with SAP, and now it is part of SAP. WBS now comes as a standard of SAP. The same way we had built in a carrier integration which enables online deliveries, e-commerce businesses, which can be easily carry forward, taken it for implementations. Then apart from moving away from the regular RF screens that SAP provides, we built in our own UI5 mobile-based add-on, which can be easily usable. It is style-based, so the operators doesn't need much of the time to understand it. It is very quick. So the other one, what we have done as an asset is the physical inventory of using the drones. Right now we are moving towards touchless operations. In this touchless operations, how we can control our operations, still there should be accuracy, how we can achieve that. So the drone is one of those areas where we brought in our innovation, our experience to help customers do a touchless integrations. Going forward, we are also working on smart glasses, which is the other key thing. Smart glasses with voice enabled, which will further simplify our touchless operations. The scanning and all would go away, and it's only about how you see, how you visualize it, and how you do it. Right, that's what we have. When we look at our services, what we offer, we do full-time EWM project implementations, we do conversions from WM to EWM, we do process consultings, we give the rollout strategies, how you have to do a rollout, build a template around it. We also do process and IT health checks. In process and IT health checks, what we do is we study your existing system, we benchmark it, then we compare it with the best practices that has to be followed. What are there in the standard that you're not following? What are the new features that would fit into your need? And prepare a complete to be solution that that can be a first step for your revamping the system and utilizing it much better. EWM roadmaps and the deployment options, we look at how you want to do it, what should, whether you should go for a capex model, you should go for a opex model. We enable you in your decision makings, and we, apart from that, we have a training academy where we train each of the users whom can learn and grow and manage your own support. So here are our few EWM engagements with the customers across the globe. We have across industry experience. It may be from auto, it may be from life sciences, it may be from retail. You pick it and we are there. We enable customers with various processes. When we look at any warehousing system, what should we look at, right? So when we look at the warehousing system, we generally look at efficiency, productivity, and visibility. How efficient our system can be to enable productivity and improve the visibility. These are the three main pillars for any warehouse operations and how we can manage it. Right, when we talk of efficiencies, there are few points: that how fast I can load it, how quickly I can print a document, how my picking efficiency should be more efficient, whether it is a batch picking, whether it is a wave picking, whether it is a order picking, how I want to do more faster efficient. Then when we look at the productivity, we should look at the process, right? Whether the physical versus the system process are in a harmonized way, the inventory is moving out faster, how I can enable it to move faster, which is basically inventory turnover periods. Then we have reduced, redirected to more valuable tasks, right? Those systems should guide us how the task should be, which task should be performed. And then the last one is the modernization of the warehouse is much more important to enable the layout. So if the layout is correct in the warehouse, that will enable the productivity and the efficiency by default. But system also enables you to see which stock is lying where. The other thing is the batch management, batch traceability is a key thing for most of the industries now. We want to track back the batch from production to the end customer, or customer back to the production, how it has happened. Yes, system enables it. And then catch weight or the SLED managements, which are very important again from the visibility point of view, that what I am selling, I know the accurate weight, right? This is what EWM covers all, and it has a capability to improve or all three key things of the processes, right? Here now I would hand it over to my colleague Prajit. He would talk on the EWM basics and at a very high level, and show you what EWM can do. Over to you, Prajit.
Thank you, Sanjay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar. So, Sanjay has given a basic overview about how EWM can help your warehouses. So now in the next few slides, for next 15 minutes or so, we will see some of the basics of EWM. So this slide shows the history of SAP with a specific focus on the warehousing. So you can see SAP has evolved in the warehousing space over a period of last several decades. So the major milestones being EDI and Pick by Light adding to the warehousing space in the 90s. In the late 90s, RFID is added. In the early 2000s, the browser based technology took over, and also they have added the pick by voice to the SAP warehousing landscape. However, our area of interest, which is the EWM 5 series, 7 series and 9 series that you can see on the top side of this chart. The 9 series ended with the EWM 9.5. However, SAP has invested heavily on the S4 EWM platform. So as you can see, 9.5 ends the sequence of the 9 series. However, the S4 HANA, on the bottom side of the slide, you will see the 1610, 1709, 1809, 1909, and they're coming up with new versions. So today we'll be focusing more on the 1909. This slide talks about several operational excellence that can be achieved using EWM. So due to the time constraints, we unfortunately cannot go through all of them. However, we will touch upon some of the basic stuffs. So the process modeling, what it means is the warehouses can be very simple or very complex. Any operations in a warehouse can, on one end of the spectrum, it could be very simple. On the other end of the spectrum, it could be very complex. To take an example, in the outbound process flow, a simple outbound would be to do a picking and to do a packing and a goods issue. On the other end of the spectrum, you can have a very complex outbound process whereby the products are stored in an automated storage or retrieval system, ASRS, and from there, when a wave is released, a pick task is created, and the picking happens automatically from the ASRS, and it is moved through conveyor to the pick station. And from the pick station, the operator handles the stock. So it is a goods to man scenario. The operator picks up the requested quantity of the stock from the handling unit, and he moves the stock onto a pick handling unit. So from there, the pick handling unit can move to a say for example an intermediary location or a pack buffer, and from the pack buffer it can move to a pack workstation where several packing activities can happen. From the pack workstation, it can go directly to the staging area, or it can also go to a temporary storage. So this happens in certain scenarios where some of the businesses do not want to clog their staging areas with unwanted stock. In other words, if the truck is docked at the door, move the stock from pack desk to the staging area. If not, move the stock to a temporary storage. As and when the truck has arrived, move it from the temporary storage to the staging area. So this is just an example, and it goes on to shows how complex a typical operation can be. So this is not considering all the exception scenarios that can happen along the way. So all of these scenarios can be handled in EWM using various functionalities provided. Another point is about the visibility of the stock. In EWM, stock is visible at any given point in time. Whatever the operation the stock is undergoing, it is visible. If the stock is sitting in a bin, it is visible. The stock could be on a resource moving from point A to point B, it is still visible. Or it could be on a transportation unit just loaded onto a vehicle, or it could be in a pack work center, or it could be in a VAS or kitting work center. In all of these cases, the real-time visibility is available as to where exactly the pallet is. Another important functionality is using radio frequency, the RF devices in conjunction with the resource management. So in the warehouse, it is extremely important to ensure that all the operators are assigned optimum quantity of work. This is a great challenge. So as in SAP EWM, we have several functionalities that can help you achieve this. For example, the resource management, or the labor management, or the warehousing monitor activity. Through labor management, you can benchmark the time taken for a particular task and then compare the actual time taken for each of these activities. So that gives you valuable insights as to whether the operators are performing their task at optimum efficiency. In case of resource management, EWM provides a wide variety of functionality. So if the warehouse is using mobile devices such as RF devices, so there can be several queues defined, such as a queue for outbound, queue for picking, queue for unloading, a queue for physical inventory counting, etc. So this area is quite flexible, so we can have an automated way of assigning the task to the operator. That means if I am an operator who is responsible for picking, I start my shift and I log on to my mobile device. The moment I log on to my mobile device, automatically my first task is already there. So I need not have to look in search of work, or I need not have to waste time searching for what to do. And as and when I complete the first task, my second task automatically flows in, and it keeps adding. So all of these things can be monitored by the supervisor using warehouse monitor. So this is an automated way. However, there are other ways also available in a non-automated or a semi-automated way. For example, if you have done unloading of quite a large number of consignment that has arrived the day before, and all of them are sitting in the goods receipt area, so you are not able to complete the put away on time. So you can assign a few operators, ask them to complete that put away process. The operators can go there and scan the handling units and complete the put away process. So this is a semi automated way of doing. And also in certain exception scenarios, when there is too much of volume involved, the operators can manually assign the work to individual pickers through warehouse monitor. This goes on to show the power of resource management. Similarly, a yard management is also has also provides some important functionalities. If the warehouse is quite huge and you want to track the vehicle movements, the moment it reaches the main gate, which we call as checkpoint, it is recorded, and from the main gate the truck can move to a parking zone or an intermediate area where the documents can be verified, or it or it could move directly to a parking lot. So from the parking lot, it can move to a door as and when the door is available, or from the document verification office, it can move to a parking lot and again back to the door. Once the unloading process is completed, the truck can go back to the parking lot, and from there it can go to the main gate and exit. All of these vehicular movements can be tracked using yard management. It gives a real-time visibility of where the truck is. Now, talking about the automation, there are several automation components that can be integrated with SAP EWM, namely automated storage and retrieval system, the ASRS, such as high bay or mini load, the conveyors, the chutes, the pick to light solution, the put to light solution, the weigh scale, and many more. So all of these can be integrated now using material flow system MFS capability of EWM. So this eliminates the need for an intermediary warehouse control unit, which acts as an intermediary, so that is no more required. So you can directly, all of these automation can directly talk with the EWM system. Now in this screenshot, it shows the warehouse monitor with the automation pick warehouse tasks, etc. So you can see how you can monitor all of these tasks going from the EWM system to the automation or to the conveyor system and back. So it shows the conveyor systems, and it also shows the stock, where the stock is, the what kind of task it is performing. So you can see the telegram type here as warehouse task confirmation or warehouse task creation, shows the warehouse task number, and quite a lot of other features. This slide shows a snapshot of a 3D tool. So this is a third-party 3D tool that can visually show you how a pallet moves from an ASRS all the way through the conveyor to different highway conveyors to different pick stations or pack stations, etc. So this is a third-party tool. This is not provided by a standard SAP EWM. So you can get in touch with us to know more about this tool and how this can be integrated with EWM. Now to talk a bit more about the logical layers and the architecture of automation, I request Sanjay to provide some more details here.
Thank you, Prajit. So, when we look at automations, for us, the main thing is the hardware, right? First, we decide upon the hardware what we want and what we want to have it in our warehouse, how those automations can improve our productivity, right? Like a pick to light, a conveyor systems, ASRS, loaders, and all, how we can use them, right? The most important thing is all the hardwares vendors, they sell it with some kind of middleware, what they have as a WCS warehouse control systems. But when we have a robust system in place which can connect with any vendor that you bring in, that becomes a more simplified architecture for the system. The first thing, if you look at, say suppose today you have a option to go for a conveyor and you went with X vendor, tomorrow you decided to go for a ASRS. Now the ASRS comes with a Y vendor. Now you have two WCS to control it, two different vendors working on it. Instead, with EWM, what it makes is a simpler architecture that EWM controls both the conveyors, both and the uh, your ASRS and whatever automations we have, maybe a AGVs, maybe a mobile robots and all. So architecturally how it works, right? So we have a application layer, we have a MFS layer, we have a PLCs, and then the finally the hardware. These are the four components in any automation. When we look at our application WMS, WMS provides a brain to the entire operations, how it should happen. So what it does is it derives the logic, it derives the understanding, it derives where it has to move. Based on that, it communicates to the MFS. Now MFS converts that communication into a protocol wherein it can send it to the PLC, and in turn PLCs now will control the sensors or the scanners, weigh scales, drivers, whatever the front end application is, receive the communication, send back the communication upon confirmation to the MFS, and MFS would convert the information received from PLC and take it to the WMS, which in turn will confirm the activity. So looking at the entire thing, there may be a question arising that it can be a complex. No, so all this happens in microseconds. We don't know also when the telegrams or when the communication has happened. It's a microseconds, that fraction, that pallet passes through a sensor and it gets communicated, it gets the information that where it has to be, whether it has to be diverted, whether it has to be strength straight, whether the weight of the pallet is matching as per the actuals in the system and all. So this is very key important point that we should look at, that whenever we think of automations, whenever we look at a warehousing solution, why don't we look at a holistic warehousing solution that would enable the automations, and the entire architecture is simpler. Now in the next slide even I will explain to you how the architecture looks like, how the architecture got evolved from yesterday to currently what we have. When we look at different architecture options, right, how we can do it. So we had a older architecture where we were having the integration with third party MFS systems or WCS systems, either through web services, either through iDocs, either through XML transfers. The things changed, and then the internal capability came in of SAP, wherein SAP Pico was introduced. Now what Pico does is, Pico used to directly control the entire architecture, and it used to talk to PLC in turn, and the integration between integration between MFS and the SAP Pico was through standard RFCs. That was the architecture that came in. That again got evolved, and where we had a hybrid MFS solution. In hybrid MFS solution, what it was SAP ERP, SAP EWM was there, and in between we had a SAP Pico layer talking to third party MFS through a TCP IP protocol, and in turn third party was controlling the PLC. With EWM evolving in 9.3, 9.4, what SAP did was SAP entirely removed the Pico layers that is required, and it in the MFS, SAP EWM MFS itself, they built in the direct connectors to the PLC using TCP IP protocol again, so that there will be a seamless integration, less number of touches in the communication, and the communication becomes more faster, more simpler, and more easier to manage. One thing that comes up with all the automations is the management of it, and if we have a simpler architecture, again the management becomes very simple. The another hybrid solution that we came up, or the thing where we had to control the PLCs, was Like we can have a centralized EWM, then a decentralized EWM only for MFS, right? The centralized would be working for many other warehouses, but decentralized EWM MFS can work for a automated based warehouses, and then that can control the automations independently. So what we want to show, or what we want to tell is, yes, SAP EWM has evolved in the journey. Now it has become so simpler in the architecture that you can seamlessly connect and control all your automations using SAP EWM. Then why we want to invest additional cost in warehouse control systems, and why we want to spend additional cost in managing them, and why we won't look at the flexibility of implementing multiple automations controlled by a single system instead of various systems, right, and manage it. So this is the overall thing. Now I will give back to Prajit, where he will talk about what is in 1909.
Thanks, Sanjay. In the next few minutes, we will see yesterday versus today. Yesterday being any versions before EWM 1909, today being EWM 1909. So we will talk about few selected functionalities, one of which is about data maintenance in the production area. So in the earlier versions, you had to maintain data in the PP view as well as in EWM view. However, with 1909, so you have one common maintenance transaction, you have one common view where both data are maintained, so which has a synchronous updates. So this helps in a practical sense uh, uh, of maintaining less data, and it also eliminates any data redundancy. So this slide talks about the synchronous backlash posting in a repetitive manufacturing with embedded EWM. So in the earlier versions, if you have a backlash scenario, so so issuing the components and receiving the finished products, you had to use outbound deliveries. However, with this 1909 versions, so you need not have to use the warehouse request or outbound or inbound deliveries. So this is synchronously posted back to the IM without having to maintain the deliveries. Same is the case with Kanban. So in case of a Kanban environment, when the Kanban containers are empty and need to be fulfilled, so a replenishment is triggered, which creates the outbound deliveries, the warehouse request, and on the back of the warehouse request, warehouse tasks and orders are created and confirmed, and at the end of it, the containers are filled with the stock. However, with 1909, there is no deliveries, so you need not have to use the deliveries. So SAP has introduced a new control type which triggers the warehouse task creation directly. This slide shows the pictorial representation of moving some stock from the warehouse storage bin to the production supply area. So on the left side of the slide, you see the warehouse storage bins, and on the right side, you will see the assembly and the production supply area. Here you see some sort of a vehicle. So this could be an AGV, this could be a train or a monorail or any of that. So from the warehouse storage bin, the stock is issued or stock is placed onto this train. So note that there are different types of activities happening here in this example. So the stock is first picked and it is placed onto this train. So this train can have multiple compartments based on the production supply area. So here you have different production supply areas, and this train can have different sections or compartments based on the physical aspects of it. Yeah, the handling units are loaded onto the train, and then the train goes through the predefined route and keep distributing the handling unit to different PSAs. So all of these things earlier you had to use with the help of deliveries to handle this. However, from 1909, you did not have to have deliveries. All of this can be handled through warehouse tasks. S4 HANA comes by default with several analytical capabilities. So in the screen you see several bar charts and pie diagrams which are of great use. So if you are familiar with the LEWM, the old LEWM environment, or even the earlier versions of the EWM, you would appreciate these kind of reporting charts. So here you can have several predefined customizable reports, such as open warehouse task by activity area, or open warehouse tasks or open picking tasks which are not confirmed yet, overdue put away tasks. So you can define the time by when the task will be converted to overdue. So you can also have several other reports, such as open warehouse tasks by warehouse process types, the outbound deliveries which are not goods issued yet, etc. So this gives a lot of power to the supervisors and warehouse managers. Apart from that, there are many other miscellaneous functions. So some of them are the physical inventory. In the physical inventory, in the earlier versions, if you had to do a recount of a count, there are no separate queues available. In other words, if some operator A has counted a bin and posted a difference, if the supervisor is not or the supervisor is suspicious about the count, then he can request for a recount. But in that case, the recount also is created to the same queue. But with 1909, so you have a separate recount queue. Thus, you can assign a different set of people to do the recount. So you would probably not want the same person to do a recount of that same bin. So that facility is available. And also, while doing the physical inventory counting, the operator can find some new handling units or new stock. So at that point in time, so 1909 provides functionality whereby the operator can enter the stock type and also the packaging material, the handling unit type, etc., while capturing that new handling units. This helps the operator, so he need not have to go to the supervisor or the warehouse control tower to do all of these activities. It can be done by the operator itself. And another feature provided is the delivery based authorization. So this comes handy when you are dealing with certain deliveries which are sensitive in nature, or certain deliveries which are, say for example, servicing the defense customers. So or some deliveries which require certain specific qualification or license to handle. So in all of those cases, you can use the authorizations to control who can work on these deliveries. Another feature which many customers have been asking for in the past was to reuse the ERP delivery number in EWM. So in the earlier versions, there was no provision to use the same ERP delivery number in EWM. However, in 1909 onwards, so you have a configuration available whereby the same ECC delivery number can be used in EWM. So this helps the operator to save time. So for the same object, he need not have to toggle around by searching with the ECC delivery number, etc. Also, in 1909, there is a small configuration provided to stop WT before goods received. What it does is, so if you activate this configuration, system will not allow you to create warehouse tasks before doing the goods received. There are new change documents available. Change documents record the changes that you have made to an object, and it is available for later reference. So the already available change documents are for the EWM product master. So along with that, fixed bin assignments, quality inspection rules, control cycles for production. So all of these things, change documents are available. So there are additional enhancements that are available in the warehouse monitor. So there is a new node for inspection log. There is a navigation available to move to the logs of the storage bins, and also there is a new node available for bin sortation. So otherwise you had to use the transaction /scwm/sbst for storage bin sorting. So now this can be done with the monitor itself. Now we'll talk for a few minutes about the Fiori applications. So this presentation is not intended to give a deep dive into the Fiori capabilities. However, if any of you are interested, I strongly advise you to browse through a video that Westernacher has presented, which is available in the YouTube. So you could go to the Westernacher channel and then search for the Fiori presentation. So there is a dedicated presentation for that. The Fiori applications are role based. What it means is the supply chain head can have a different role versus the warehouse manager versus the warehouse supervisor. So depending on the role of the person, the Fiori can be customized. So the supply chain head is more interested, is not interested in a transaction level reports. However, the supervisor is very much interested in transaction level reports. So he can customize his main screen, can add the favorites, and choose what reports can be shown. So that is what we meant by role based. The Fiori applications are adaptive. What it means is the applications are seamless. So you can use any type of devices, any type of screen sizes, and it adjusts automatically. So some of the earlier application like the traditional RF had problems in adjusting to the screen size, but in Fiori there is no truncation of the field values. It is simple to use. So if you log on to one app, so you can complete all the activities in that screen itself, in comparison with moving around to another screen, navigating to another window, etc. So this, all the activities for that particular app can be done in that screen. So this screenshot shows the Fiori app for outbound delivery packing. As you can see, there are quite a lot of information provided in a nice way. For example, you have all the line item details here. You have the partially packed, damaged, packing functionalities available. You also have some sort of a pictorial representation of the product. It also shows how much weight has been packed. This screenshot shows the Fiori app for physical inventory counting. As you can see, on the left side you will see all the physical inventory documents, and on the right side you will see the count, the place where the operator can enter the count. So if you compare this with a traditional RF counting screen, so you would appreciate how easy and how better experience this provides. Along with that, there are many more enhancements to the already existing apps, such as pack warehouse stock, the packing app, the picking and put away app, and the e-commerce returns. So in the picking and put away app, you can do now you can do the mask confirmation, and you can also use the exception codes to confirm multiple warehouse tasks. So all of these things can be done in the Fiori app. So there is a drop down button available on the top right, where you can select the exception code, and that confirms the warehouse task with the exception code. E-commerce returns, so this also is another pain point in many businesses. What we have seen, when the returns, especially the retail sector, when the return comes from the stores, the warehouse has no idea what contents are involved in it, and then once it is unloaded, it has to go to a dedicated section where the operators will have to open it and do a sortation. Some of the items would be damaged, some of them are good to use, can go back to the stock, and some of the items are to be returned to the vendor, and some of the items need a minor fine tuning. after which it can go back to the stock. All such sortations are required, and there also would be quality inspection process. So once these quality inspection process are completed, it triggers the subsequent flow of the stock. So there are a lot of these functionalities available in 1909 app. Just to conclude, the EWM is a best-in-class warehouse solution. It is quite flexible, and it can connect very well to the automation and non-SAP products. It provides a fantastic integration and control functionalities. So with this, I request Sanjay to take it over with the next section of the future beyond 1909.
I will quickly cover this session. We have 10 minutes left now. So, yeah, so EWM as a SAP's continuous investment into this area, what they are looking at or how they want to look at the overall improvements in the system is in the functional areas, integration areas, the new developments that would enable the simpler connectivity between any systems, and the automations, how we can more simplify, more easily connect the overall thing. So overall strategy is to have a one line code or very less code, and use the standard as much as possible, so that the customer don't have to face the challenge of during the upgrades, during the new process designs, during the rollouts or anything. Being more standard, being everything available on the fly would help the implementation, help the bring in the flexibility of deployments across all the warehouses if there are multiple, but also in the single warehouse, how easily, simply it can be installed and deployed. So when SAP designed the roadmap, they designed it for 3 years with a vision of 2019 being for innovations, 2020 the product direction, and 2021 the product vision, what it should be and how it should be. So when they looked at innovations, what it should be, so it was key thing was how EWM can easily integrate with TM, and also look at how we can improve the on-time delivery through retail enhancements, which was critical. The retail market is growing, and the customers would always like to have the product that can do everything, managing your warehouse from the end delivery and improve your performance. Right on, when we came to 2020, which is the product direction, the direction was set that we were to bring more of analytical capabilities, enable the track and trace in the system, so traceability of quality become an important point. Then how we can bring in Fiori apps, the Kanban processes, which is critical to auto industry, how the Kanban processes can be more robust and improved. Then overall tracking, integration with transportation management, where it is, when it has been picked, whether it is the trucks are coming on time, how the trucks planning gets affected in the warehouse. All these points were taken into. And then the other last one is the security and process traceability, whenever it comes to the EWM, how we can ensure it. The last one was vision, and the vision is to simplify the QM process so that it becomes more robust, more easier to use it. Then how we can reduce the TOC, total cost of ownership, with enhanced integration, so that you don't have to build anything new and everything is available on standard. Improve on time delivery through automations, how automations can be linked in, the visibilities, and bring in more analytical skills. So when somebody looks at, or a warehouse manager looks at it on his desktop, on at the fingertips, he has a online live analytics available. He doesn't have to run through the datas, download it, Excel, prepare a Excel, prepare a PPT. He can do a live presentations how it can be enabled, right? And the supply to manufacturing from the warehousing process also is a key thing, because the productions are now getting linked. Warehouses are always near the manufacturing areas or far off manufacturing areas, but the warehouses should have the complete controls from back end, which is the supplying areas. Right now we will quickly talk upon the various deployment options. So when we look at EWM deployment options in the embedded, it comes basically with basic warehouse management and advanced warehouse management. What it is there is a few features, and again this features are based on the need of the process, whether we do wave management or whether we do a order picking. If you are doing a order picking, we would definitely suggest go for a basic warehouse management. But if it is a complex process where you require wave management, deconsolidations, slottings, cross docking, billing services, everything that comes under advanced warehouse management, and more used for the complex processes. If it is a simple process, yes, it can basic warehouse management will do, bring in the visibility that is required, but all the Fiori apps would be there for basic warehouse management also, right? So now looking at the decentralized, how does it work? So decentralized generally are either we have ECC, EHP5 or S4 HANA 1610. So this is where we can connect, and minimum S4 that we propose or we look at is 1809 with service pack 2. So when we look at this, what it enables is, if you have a high throughput, higher volumes, we recommend to have a decentralized system, so that it enables or brings in the flexibility of using the solution only for the warehouse, and the robustness can be utilized. So it may happen that sometimes ERP is down or some thing is not working, still the warehouse is up and working. In this condition, you don't have to stop the warehouse operations can keep running. So that is the key idea of having a decentralized system. Then we also have a cloud platform for it, and it is getting evolved and the features are getting added. Cloud has all the capability that S4 has, and apart from that, in the cloud, analytics and all are getting added. So there are standard APIs that we can be used for inventory counting, and the automations in the picking task creations and all are available. Fiori apps are available, right? So there are benefits with the cloud, whether again this is always a topic of discussion, whether we want to go with the capex or we want to go with the opex model. Cloud always helps us support in opex model, and if we have our own instances, it helps us to control it, manage it in our own way, right? So in the summary, S4 on-premises embedded EWM is there. We have a decentralized S4, we have a S4 on cloud, and S4 embedded EWM. Everything is available based on our discussions further. When we want to implement or when we want to connect, we would evaluate each of this. We will help you understand what it is in detail, and we will suggest you the best fit solution for it. So quickly on the innovations, yeah, we do innovations to simplify the things. As I told earlier on this, the KPI dashboards, the UI5, the skills, the voice enabled, we have implemented it, we have a good experience about it. 3D warehouse modeling is a good simulator that we have a partner for us with whom we connect and enable this simulation process, simulators for automation, so that you in real time you can see how your pallet is moving on a conveyor, instead of visualizing it without seeing. Right. Other things that we are bringing in is the advanced slotting, the enhancements, the predictive warehousing, and the warehouse mapping. right. There are other things which you can see on the YouTube links. For each one of them we have may prepared our videos, how it works and how it will enable you, so you can definitely look at these videos and understand how and what we have done, right. What we do is for you, we do a inspiration day where we can come, we can connect for one day, we understand the things, then and we can do a health checks, we can do a proof of concepts and continuous improvements. So right, so apart from that, what we have in our offering is the pop-up warehouse, the pop-up warehouses or amplifier program, a simple efforts, a clear-cut defined scope, ring fence scope, which is of 185 days, where we take a distribution center or a manufacturing warehouse and we implement it. So overall there will be no automations in that, but this will be a simple implementation with a defined scope, right. So it is not that we have shown it, but this is how we approach to the entire solution. What we told is 185 days, we calculated it, we did it, and we have the experience to do it. We bring in our templates, we bring in our design, and we enable it fastly and quickly, right. So yeah, this is our success story of the Hasco vision. Sorry, I due to the time constraint I can't share the video, but here the KPIs, what we looked at, what we did it. But this Hasco vision, you have the demo on again the YouTube, you can visit it. Thank you all from Westernacher. We are happy to have you all on the call, on the webinars. Keep attending. We are many more webinars to come in, and we would share all our knowledges, what we have, the experiences that we have across the globe, and help you enable implement your warehouse solution, EWMS solution in your warehouses in a robust way, so that your overall capex and the ROI total cost of ownership is low, and you have a quicker ROI. At last, any solution, any warehouse management solution, it is important to have a quicker ROI and lower cost. So this is also our focus, that whenever we implement, we look at these criterias, how we can enable the customer better in a way that their ROIs, the costs, everything is managed and the KPIs are met, which is again a key thing for the business, that KPIs are met and everything is fulfilled on time, right. With this, we would like to thank you all for attending the webinar, and let's get in touch. Here are our coordinates. You can reach us on LinkedIn, you can mail us. We will be happy to answer your further questions and take this forward.